Welcome back. The time now is 6:40. This morning, the defenders are joining us here on Local 4 News Morning to break their newest investigation. And this time, it's about an assault allegations at a local church.
Now, earlier in the newscast, we first told you about these alleged interactions, inappropriate interactions between a local pastor and some young girls in a Dearborn Heights congregation. Take a listen.
I was always told never to mention anything to anyone because this was the way he loved me.
And I felt violated immediately.
Now let's take a live look at the Alleluia Romanian Pentecostal Church of God that is at the center of this controversy. And now we want to go to Karen Drew with part 2 of our defender's investigation with the secret meeting victims say kept them quiet.
For the first time, the victims, who are now grown women, are speaking out, not only about what they say happened to them, but in their words, how they felt the church tried to cover it all up.
I was crippled by shame. I'm no longer ashamed because it's nothing that I did wrong.
Maria, along with these other women who don't want to show their face, say they all share a common horrible childhood experience. They say they were molested by their pastor, Johnny Buia, while he was pastor at this church in Dearborn called the Alleluia Romanian Pentecostal Church of God. The allegations are explained in detail in these police reports the defenders were able to obtain. This woman says the pastor inappropriately touched her while teaching her how to swim.
I would like him removed from society. He's a sick man. I don't want this to happen to any other women or any other girls or boys or anybody. And I don't think children are safe around him.
Because of their fear more children could be at risk, the women took their concerns to the Church of God International offices, where members of the board showed up at the Sheraton Hotel in Romulus for a secret meeting back in August with 2 of the accusers. The women say their complaints fell on deaf ears. This agreement, the women say they felt forced to sign at that meeting, is now the center of a storm of controversy. In the agreement, the Reverend will take a leave of absence. In exchange, the victims will drop all the charges and not bring other charges in the future.
My impression of the meeting is there is an imperative within this church to keep things within the church and to try to handle things in-house.
2 victims also flew to Tennessee, where the church is headquartered, to take part in a trial of Reverend Johnny Buia. The trial was run by church leaders.
They questioned us for 2 days. And it wasn't easy going through all the questioning and all the judgments and all the stares and you're lying.
The defenders obtained a copy of this report from the trial, where the church board ruled there is not sufficient evidence to find Reverend Buia guilty of sexual abuse of children or child molestation as charged. But at the same time, the board ruled Reverend Buia conducted himself in an unbecoming manner toward the opposite sex and exercised poor judgment in his conduct toward members of the opposite sex.
I can tell you that I have been sexually abused. I have been violated.
The board required the Reverend to vacate his position as pastor of the Dearborn Church for at least 6 months. According to the board, its ruling is not to be construed as a suspension of ministerial credentials, but as a restriction of ministerial activity.
It's ridiculous to put someone back on the pulpit in 6 months, to have the person have exposure to children.
Karen Drew, Local 4 Defenders.
And there is much more to this disturbing story.
Here's Local 4 Defender Hank Winchester with what he's working on for tonight at 11.
I'm Local 4 Defender Hank Winchester. You've heard the stunning allegations. A local pastor accused of being a child predator. Now, we track him down.
Do you have anything to say to the victim? Don't answer. Don't answer.
Tonight at 11, you'll hear what the pastor has to say. You'll also hear from the pastor's wife, and what she said about her husband stunned even us. The defenders take you inside this investigation, all new tonight at 11.